You know that voice in your head, right? The one that's always on, narrating everything, judging, worrying. It's just constant. But what if you could do more than just put up with it? What if you could actually understand it and even learn to manage it? Well, that's what we're going to dive into. We're going to look at that inner voice through two amazing lenses: cutting-edge neuroscience and some incredibly relevant ancient wisdom. Okay, let's just start with this question because it really gets to the core of everything. Are you that voice? Or are you the one who is listening to it? I mean, wow, think about that for a second. Most of us just assume we are that inner chatter, but this question suggests something else entirely. It suggests there's a space, a separation between the thoughts and the one who is aware of the thoughts. And that little bit of space, that's the key to everything.
So what is this voice? Well, for centuries, philosophers and writers have had a name for it: the ego. And as thinkers like Ryan Holiday have pointed out, the ego can seriously be the biggest enemy in our lives. It's that part of us that craves approval, that gets all defensive, that's terrified of failing. It's really the source of so much of our internal struggle. And if we want any real peace or to get truly good at anything, we have to learn how to tame it.
Okay, so if this ego is such a big deal, where does it even come from? For a long time, we have talked about it like it's just a psychological idea, a concept. But here's where things get really fascinating. Modern science has actually found its address in your brain. This isn't just some metaphor anymore, it's a real physical process happening between your ears. Let me introduce you to the default mode network, or DMN for short. The best way to think about it is as your brain's own personal storyteller. You know when you're not really focused on anything in particular, maybe you're driving or showering, and your mind just starts wandering? That's the DMN kicking into gear. Its main job is to spin the story of you, that constant narrative of I, me, and my. So what's this storyteller actually doing? Well, it's pretty busy. It's constantly pulling from your memories to write and rewrite the story of your past. It's projecting you into the future, running all those what-if scenarios. And this is a big one, it's the source of that inner critic, the one that's always judging you, always comparing you to other people. All of this gets woven together to create that feeling of who you are. Now, the DMN isn't all bad, not at all. A healthy one helps us plan and have a solid sense of ourselves. The trouble starts when it gets hijacked. A healthy DMN is flexible, but a hijacked one, it becomes totally rigid, obsessed with itself. Instead of helping you make creative plans, it just gets you stuck in a loop of worry and rumination, playing the same negative thoughts over and over again. You're just trapped. And this is how it creates this vicious cycle of suffering. It works like this. The hijacked DMN feeds you a negative thought, maybe I'm a failure. That thought makes you feel bad, right? It triggers real distress. And then your brain looks at that feeling of distress and goes, see, I knew it. You feel awful, which must mean you really are a failure. It uses your own suffering as proof, which just makes that negative belief even stronger. What is absolutely mind-blowing is that thousands of years before we had brain scanners, ancient philosophers were dealing with this exact same problem. They didn't call it the default mode network, of course, but boy, did they understand how it worked. The Stoics, in particular, were all over this. Just listen to this from the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius. He wrote this for himself in his own private journal. Your soul takes on the color of your thoughts. He knew 2,000 years ago that your inner world is something you create. If your mind is constantly looping that anxious, self-obsessed chatter from a hijacked DMN, then guess what? Your whole life is going to feel anxious and negative. Your reality is literally colored by your thoughts. And here's the Stoic solution, boiled down. This is such a direct challenge to the ego. Something happens in the outside world, but it's your DMN, your ego, that creates the story about it, the story that says, I've been hurt or I've been wronged. What Marcus is saying is that you have a choice right there. You don't have to believe the story. You can actually control your inner reaction, even when you can't control anything else. Okay, so we've got the modern diagnosis from neuroscience and this ancient diagnosis from Stoic philosophy, and they both point to the very same problem. We think we are that voice in our head. So the big question is, how do we actually break that connection? How do we create some space? Well, let's look at some really practical tools from psychology. The key skill we're talking about here is detachment. Now, this doesn't mean being cold or not caring about anything. It's the opposite, really. It's about freedom. It's the skill of unhooking your happiness from all the things you can't control. What other people think, whether you get the job, if things go your way.
It's about finding an inner peace that isn't always getting knocked around by the outside world.
All right, here's a super powerful visualization you can try. It's called the container. So next time you feel that negative chatter just taking over, first, just pause. Take a breath and notice where you feel it in your body. Then, in your mind, picture a really strong, secure container. Now, visualize yourself putting all of that negativity, every last bit of it, into the container. See yourself locking it up tight and then putting it somewhere safe, like deep in the earth or at the bottom of the ocean. The key is, you're not trying to destroy the feeling. You're just telling your mind, hey, I see you. I'll deal with you later when I'm ready on my terms. It's healthy compartmentalization.
And look, detachment is a skill. It's like a muscle you can build over time. Tools like this detachment wheel can actually help you see where you're at. It lets you check in on different areas of your life, your job, your relationships, your goals, and see how attached you are to specific outcomes. Once you know where your biggest attachments are, you can start consciously working on letting go, which helps you stay centered no matter what life throws at you.
So let's tie all of this together. We've seen how the brain's default mode network is basically the engine of the ego. We've heard how the ancient Stoics figured this out centuries ago, and we've looked at some practical tools to start managing it. But the final piece of the puzzle, the main insight, is probably the most powerful thing you can realize.
So here's what it all boils down to. That ego, it's not a solid thing. It's not the real, permanent you. It's just a process, a radio station that's always broadcasting from a network in your brain. And because it's just a process, you can change how you relate to it. Remember that first question? You are not the voice. You're the one listening to it. The secret to finding peace isn't to shut the voice up, good luck with that, but to learn how to disidentify from it. To just watch the thoughts come and go, like clouds passing in the sky, without letting them become who you are.
And that brings us right back to the beginning. We spend so much of our lives asking, who am I? And we let that voice in our head give us the answer. But maybe that's just the wrong question. Maybe the real life-changing question, the one that truly sets you free, is to simply turn your attention around and notice who or what is doing the asking.